Hey guys, welcome back to Combustion Junction. I'm Steve, and what you're looking at right now is the latest acquisition that followed me home. A 1978 CB550. I was actually not in the market to get any more motorcycles right now. I'm pretty much full up. But when this guy presented himself to me, I couldn't help it. So basically, what this was a running, driving, pseudo cafe racer conversion. And the owner took it apart a few years ago at his buddy's house to paint it. You can see he spent all this time putting tape on the spokes and then just painted on the tires. They look to be really good tires, so I don't know. We're gonna have to deal with that. But it's, it got into primer, and that's where it stood for years. And finally, his buddy just kind of said, get it out at whatever cost, and he put an ad up. The pictures did not do it justice. This bike is incredibly clean. The job is pretty good. Now, it hasn't run in a long time. There's a box of goodies that come with it. But overall, like in terms of finding a CB bike to build, this is not bad. There is no seat. It was just a piece of rubber that was pretty gnarled up. And like I said, there's terrible overspray on the wheels. Engine looks incredibly clean. There's a little bit of paint coming off here, just, from use, not a big deal. Some of the electronics have been modified. You can see that there's been some custom stuff. The handlebar mounts have been shaved down and some lights introduced. These look great, the nice white clusters. So I'm gonna try and figure out how to keep as much of this as I can as I go. But first things we're gonna have to see before I kind of put it away to finish up my other projects is if it will indeed run. Okay, so bike is in the garage. A couple days later, I've had some time to sort of dig through things, get a couple more things put on, and I'll let you know what I found. So first of all, I've gone through the electrical. There was a lot of loose ends on the wires and stuff. I've gotten everything to work in terms of headlight, tail light, functioning lights, everything. The one trick was whoever did the wiring and did all the LED conversions. As you know, LEDs are a one-way polarity. The positive and the negative always have to match that. And whoever wired this used all the correct colored wires, except had the wrong polarity. So on this, you can see that my ground is actually connected to the brown because that's what they sent to the lights. And so all of these lights as well, what I thought was ground was actually hot, and what I thought was hot was actually ground. So I basically had to flip everything in here to get it all hooked up. I think that was just part of the disassembly. Whoever did it didn't do it right, never went back. That's the dangers you get with buying a bike that's been messed with like this. Secondly, and probably the biggest thing I did was mess with this a little bit. The original clip-ons were these guys. And this was actually on that side down there underneath the triple clamp. And I just personally, it really bugs me when the speedo cluster sticks way up and the bars are way down, as well as on this bike. I'm not opposed to really low clip-ons for that cafe style, but you got to put in offsets because you can't have sort of an upright stance and then a real big lean forward on the bike. So what I actually did is I grabbed a pair of 35mm clip-ons that I actually had from another bike that I didn't use and just threw them on the top of the triple clamp. I've done this with the CM400, and I'm even doing it with the Virago. I just quite like the style that it ends up giving, and it's still it has the look, but you're sitting a little bit more upright and it's just a little bit more comfortable. I did have to flip the brackets around. This one should be on this side flipped over because of this stuff was in the way, and so I couldn't get this. It should be turned in that way, so I couldn't do that. The other thing I messed with for a little while is I actually really lowered these. I hate, most of the time you know, you go to the small speedo cluster, because these guys are like, you know, way more angled up and way more prominent. So I've been, if I could stand back, it's hard to tell with the tank off, but I've definitely got them a little bit more flatter. I feel like I want to come down at least 1 more inch on this. So this bracket that is the original Honda bracket, they've kind of manipulated it, whoever had it before me. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make my own with an offset L and bring these down hopefully another inch. I've got the headlight bucket pulled down quite a way, so I've got lots of room to do that and lots of room to play. I think this, the white speedo cluster is great. I'm also going to try and get these a little bit closer together when I do it. But for now, I just wanted to get everything going. I have a temp battery installed. I've ordered a sealed gel battery. I couldn't get the 550 one, so I ordered the 750 one. This isn't it. This is a different one just for the time being, but hopefully that fits in there. What else? I got the exhaust on. Basically, they all just kind of end. It's open pipes. I think it was the original exhaust. I don't know. It's from what I was told. They don't. There are some funny bends and stuff. So I'm leaning towards not. I'm leaning towards this is just kind of thrown together. But they're on for now to get it started. The carbs were loosely placed with nothing hooked up. Because of that, it took 5 seconds for me to flip them off, open up a couple of the bottoms. They are really clean. They were drained and done right. So I haven't messed with these at all. I've just got them back on. I had to heat the rubber up a little bit to get them fully seated, but they seem fine. As mentioned before, they came with these filters, which seem to be okay. The jetting is still stock, 42 and 90, I believe. So definitely if we keep these pipes, we'll have to upgrade probably to, I don't know, I'm probably gonna order like a 1 and a 105 and a 110 or something on the mains and leave the pilot or the primary alone. Depending on how this all goes and what I wanna do, I definitely think I'm gonna do like a 4-into-1 Mac or Delcovic or something and see what my options are. I did also manage to cobble together what we have of the coil. I basically kind of had to match the melt of the plastic because obviously, the stock wiring is yellow for one side, blue for the other. Both these coils are blue in color. So one has obviously been a replacement or both. And also I have one straight spark plug boot, which actually had, I think this one, well, that has a number 1, that has nothing. The third one has a number 4, and it's also a straight boot. So it's a bit of a hodgepodge, but they are together. I think they're feeding the right cylinders, and I do have spark. With that being said, I think I want to just hook up an aux gas tank and see. I think I trust these carbs enough that I'm going to fill them up and see if we can't get this guy to come to life. The other thing is that I've been messing with different paint removal systems. Ultimately, I have to get this tire off. I think the standard paint thinners and stuff aren't doing it. I'm gonna have to use a stripper, which from what I've read, shouldn't affect the rubber. But if it does, then there's new tires in my future anyway. But before I deal with repainting or anything, I'm gonna just experiment on one of them and see what happens. And it might actually be the back one because I think it needs a fatter tire. Anyway, so let's hook up some fuel and see if these carbs fill up and do not drip. No choke. Let's get a little choke. See what happens. I would call that a smashing success. That's really cool. I think for a brief time, I was definitely firing on 3, if not all, of the cylinders. I do have a little bit of a gas leak in the first carb, and actually, I'm pretty sure this screw right here is stripped out. It was kind of like, you know, when you're tightening something up and you just know you don't feel that clunk. It's kind of just feeling a little funny, a little soft on the Titan, and I think I'm going to have to maybe do like JB Weld and just retap it or something. The back one is definitely solid. The one on the other side is better. It's also soft as well, not so bad. The other 3 are rock solid. So the only little bit of leakage I had some overflow issues right at the beginning. I think it was just one of the floats not sealing. That seems to be fine, but then you can see here just a little bit of wet. Where that seal just isn't rock solid. So I had the gas turned off. I think I ran out of fuel, which is why it sort of sputtered and died. But I got a warm pipe. Yeah, it fired on all 4. All 4 of these are warm. So the blue one up here is actually the oil pressure light, and it's a little intermittent. I did top up the oil and check it. It's got new oil in it. And this light does intermittently work. I've got to go through a little bit more of this, and it might just be the ground or something, because some of these just aren't totally happy. They need to be gone over. I think that's a great place to call it for this bike today. Really glad it runs. You'll definitely see it soon. Gonna get some paint on the tank and on the cowl, and get a nice little comfy seat made for that thing, and hopefully maybe do some other cool little leather trim stuff that I think will look pretty good. Anyway, guys, as always, like, subscribe, share this video with somebody you think may enjoy it. Leave a comment down below. Say hi. Would love to hear from you. And until next time, keep warm, stay safe, and yeah, we'll see you soon. Cheers, guys.